Hello, welcome to this lecture. The Declaration of Helsinki in 1964. So we won't go through all the rules and regulations of the Declaration of Helsinki because some are repeated in the Nuremberg Trial, but we will look at the key changes, or you might call it upgrades, from the Nuremberg Code. So anyway, this was done in the beautiful city of Helsinki. So you can look at the picture. It's so beautiful, isn't it? Helsinki is known for its architecture by the water. It's absolutely beautiful. I want to go there one day, you pay a visit too. So anyway, it's an upgrade. This is important. This is like upgrading your Windows 9 to Windows 10, which I'm doing at the moment in the office, which is very troubling. So it's an upgrade. So first of all, we start with the words, because wording is everything, isn't it? We think in words, we project in words. Words carry a lot of meaning. So the word human experimentation was changed to clinical research, because we don't want to call it human experimentation. It makes it sound like human beings are like guinea pigs, which was in the time of the Second World War. But then we have moved forward. Now it's actual physicians who are ethically bound. So they want to do clinical research for humanity and not human experimentation. So it is clinical research. So in Nuremberg Code, well-informed consent from a legally able subject was absolutely necessary. But what we realized was, in clinical research, you have populations who cannot be directly consented. They can be consented via a legal guardian. For example, children, very little children who want to participate in pediatric trials, which is very important. The parents or the legal guardian can consent on behalf of the child. Or if it's an unconscious patient, the patient might benefit from the clinical research. Obviously, a patient in an unconscious state cannot consent, so the legal guardian consents on his or her behalf. And the other thing is, if the condition that prevents the patient or the subject from not consenting, and so the legal guardian consent, should be a key feature of the group under study. So if it is a clinical trial involving unconscious patient, it should be a research about the unconscious patients. You see what I mean? The characteristic that prevents them from consenting is being in the unconscious state. So the trial has to be about the unconscious subjects. It cannot be something else, something totally unrelated, like let's say diabetes for a healthy population. It could be diabetes of the unconscious population, but it cannot be for another different group. It should be directly about the unconscious patient. And of course, pediatric trials, it has to be about the pediatric population, how we improve the treatment outcomes in the pediatric population, right? It's not about a different group. And this is very important. Ethics committee was first described in the Declaration of Helsinki. What is an ethics committee? It is an independent group of personnel who are physicians, scientists, and lay people who evaluate the protocol, which lays or sets in stone the rules governing the clinical research project, what to do, how to do it, how to analyze data, and so forth. So that is a protocol. So they evaluate the protocol, and if they're happy, they approve the protocol. So this was first described in the Declaration of Helsinki, and vulnerable groups were first described in the Declaration of Helsinki. So it is possible to do clinical research in a vulnerable population. For example, like pregnant women or unconscious patients or Down syndrome patients. Those are all vulnerable groups. But they should be given special protection. So if it is a Down syndrome population, they should be given special protection for their mental and physical well-being. If it is pregnant women, they should also be given special protection. Not only the pregnant woman, their unborn child, or after the child is born, they should be given special protection, right? If you do clinical research with a vulnerable group, they should be given special protection. And then if you do clinical research with a vulnerable group, it should be responsive to the needs of the vulnerable group. So if you do clinical research about pregnant women, it should be responsive to the needs of the pregnant women population. So let's say you do a research project on postpartum depression in pregnant women. So that is good, okay, right? Because that is supposed to improve the quality of life of the pregnant women population, because it's about postpartum depression. So it should be responsive to the needs of the vulnerable group. So if it's a Down syndrome population, maybe they need a lot of social engagement. So the trial should be responsive to those needs. They should be responsive and trying to improve those needs of that group. And then if you use a vulnerable group, you have to make sure that you need to absolutely use that vulnerable group and not some other group. So I have used Google Maps as an example here, and you want to go to 463 Windsor Road. So you have two routes, right? So the blue color route is the vulnerable population, but there's also gray color route. So you have to make sure that the gray route cannot be taken to reach your outcome. So if your outcome is to improve the mental state of the Down syndrome patient, you have to show that you cannot use the other group, the healthy population. So because you are trying to reach your objective, which is to study the effects or to improve the mental psychological condition of the Down syndrome patient. So that's the only route which you can take, the blue route, right? So you have to evaluate all the routes, and you have to show that you have to absolutely use the vulnerable group to reach the objectives of this trial. And then this is very important. The vulnerable group should be directly benefit from the results of the trials. Should be direct. See, this is a beautiful picture. Should be direct. So if it's a Down syndrome patient group, they should directly benefit from, for example, what I said, if you're doing a research project to improve the mental health status of the Down syndrome group, the results are obviously benefiting that group. And if you use a pregnant women population, you study diabetes in the pregnant women population, the results should benefit that group. So let's say you come up with a drug for diabetes, it should specifically address that pregnant women population and not some other group like the healthy men. They can also use, but that shouldn't be the primary outcome. Primary benefit should be for that vulnerable group. Right? So that brings to the end of Declaration of Helsinki. Obviously, I didn't go through all of it, but I showed you the most important upgrades from the Nuremberg trial. So we'll go through everything in detail in GCP, Good Clinical Practice. But you can see, right, the step up from Nuremberg Code to Declaration of Helsinki. Little by little, we improve over time. After historical incidences and, many people thinking about the same problem, we improve, and finally we come up with GCP. But for now, study it, understand it, and appreciate the Declaration of Helsinki from the beautiful city of Helsinki, right? And I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.